Yeah. I can never get these chairs right. It's like when you set it up, someone deliberately unsettles it. I can't go too high because my feet won't touch the floor.
You can't be trusted on these chairs. You're just going to swing around and mess around, so I'm sorry. We'll have to put some new chairs in.
Paul, why are we here today? What's this all about, all this filming?
Well, we're here, mate, to talk absolute shit.
Absolute?
Shit.
Ship?
Shit, yeah.
Okay, so we're used to that, aren't we?
Everyone in shipping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talks it.
You know,
yeah.
A good agent can talk a bit of shit.
Yeah, absolutely. So where did this idea come from?
It was the marketing team. You know, they come up with all this filming.
And they expect us to do it?
Expect, mate.
Yeah.
They don't ask. Do they?
No, they never ask.
We've booked the studio.
Yeah, absolutely. And you will do this absolute ship.
So what kind of led you to get involved in the industry, Steve, and led to your first sort of chance opportunity?
I started in 1979 at Immingham Dock in the dock office. And when I was first introduced to everybody, someone in the office asked me if I knew what a hoover was. And I said, yeah, of course I know what a hoover is. They said, great. I think you can do the hoovering in the office. That's your first task. So that was my introduction.
Being a professional hooverer.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
So was it a small business? Or?
Yeah, it was a small family business.
Okay.
There was maybe 5 or 6 of us at the time. And I sat in the same chair, same desk for 32 years.
So when we go back to you getting the job at your first employer, what sort of salary did they take you on and what perks did you get from that?
So I think I was on about £1,500 a year, between £1,500 and £1,800 a year. So not a great deal. There was no car. I couldn't drive at the time. So I took my test in at the end of 1979. I used to have to get a bus and then I got a lift. And then if I was on the dock, it'd either have to walk to the port or they would drop me off at a ship. I'd do my little bit of business. And then we would have to use the telephone on the quayside because there's no mobile phones. So I'd call up to the office and say, right, I've finished. Can you come and get me? And they would normally say, well, we're really busy. You'll just have to wait. Go in the docker's lobby and wait, have a cup of tea or a cup of coffee. And that's how I did my first few ships. And then I passed my test. So I phoned up my then boss and said, I've passed my test. When do I get a company car? And I was told,
keen, wasn't
yeah,
you?
very keen, yeah, always the one. And I was told that I had to wait. So my first company car was a 1976 Vauxhall Chevette brown. I think it was brown.
Good colour brown.
Yeah, it's good colour. Yeah, a little bit better than your shirt, mate.
Cheers, mate.
Yeah, that's all right. But it was a brown because I think it was more rust than it was coloured.
Patinaed.
Patinaed, yeah, that's the word. I do remember having a stereo fitted in it because you know what young lads are like. And the guy rang me up and said, we can't put the speakers in the door, mate, because there's no bottoms to the door. So it rusted away. So that didn't last very long. And it kept breaking down. Every time I took a girl out, it always broke down. So, you know.
Conveniently. Yeah.
So, yeah, that was then replaced by, a mini Metro. Yeah. So, yeah, we've had a few iffy cars in the offing. But, yeah, good fun.
Any point in your career from the early days, especially at the early days, because it is quite ruthless, the industry, like the hours and the time, did you ever think that you couldn't do it? Like, because I did. Like when I first started out, there was my first sort of 6 weeks, I questioned whether I could do the job because it's going from college to going into a ship's agency where you don't stop, and it is quite intense.
I'll give them the due that when I very first started, they didn't have me on the rota because obviously I knew nothing. When I got a car, that was a different matter. Then I would take my turns.
More was expected.
Yeah, more expected. And as the tankers were the ones that I really liked. Although my very first ship I went on board was a ship called the 𝗙𝗫𝗂𝗍 on the Immingham bulk terminal. Okay. So it's a large bulk carrier, which fascinated me. For British Steel, yeah, as was. And then obviously they had different names. And they're back to British Steel now. So that's the very first ship. And to see a JCB in the bottom of the hold running around. It was unbelievable, you know, the size of the hold, size of the ship. So it captured my imagination from a very early stage. Plus, you're dealing with the crew, which we all really enjoy, you know, looking after.
They're part of the experience.
Absolutely,
aren't they?
yeah. So different crew, different nationalities to get involved with. So yeah, so from the very first start, for me, and the hours, sometimes you'd question yourself when you were down on the dock and it was blowing a hoolie and it was midnight on a New Year's Eve, you know, and you hear the horns going and you think to yourself, God, why aren't I out at a party, or why am I not doing this?